After 7 years of marriage, Sylvan cheated 10 times. Whether it was a pure college girl, a beautiful live streamer, or a yoga instructor, whether it was sea cucumber and abalone or steak and burgers, he never had any picky tastes. After I discovered Sylvan's 10th affair with a pure college girl, he was furious and ashamed. We've been together since I was 18, I've had enough. I don't want to wrong myself. Nora. Can't we just do our own thing? I was obedient and went to a bar that night to pick a handsome guy, sweet-talked him into booking a room. After doing it 3 times, I was almost fainting from pleasure. Then I heard the sweaty handsome guy say he was a senior in high school this year. My eyes widened. What? He quickly added, "Sister, I'm 19, I'm old enough." Handsome younger guys are so addictive, I just can't resist. Whenever I have time, I hang out with him. But paper can't hide fire forever. Sylvan caught us in bed together. His eyes bloodshot, he hysterically demanded, "Nora, how could you sleep with another man?" I spread my hands. "Wasn't it you who said we'd each do our own thing? They say the pain of 3 years, the itch of 7. Even Sylvan, who at 18 wrote me thick stacks of love letters to win me over, wasn't immune to this curse. In 7 years of marriage, he cheated 10 times. The first time, he cheated with our son's violin teacher. The day I found out, he wept bitterly, knelt down, and swore, "Wife, I was wrong. Please forgive me this once." My eyes blurred with tears, the pain left me speechless. The boy who had sincerely and passionately loved me at 18 was unrecognizable now. Gino was only 4, and his favorite thing was Sylvan coming home from work every day to play with him. He couldn't be without his father. In the long stretch of sorrow, I nodded with difficulty and forgave him. I thought that after this, Sylvan would never do anything to betray me again. But a man's promises are no different from a dog's bark. In less than 3 months, Sylvan cheated again. The second time, his affair was with a female internet celebrity. The third time, it was with a yoga instructor, until the 10th time, when the other woman was a pure college girl who bore a 5-point resemblance to me. This time, I finally couldn't bear it anymore. I chose to confront him openly. It was already summer, and the heat outside was intense. Sylvan came home at 10, still wearing his custom-made suit. As he changed his shoes, he hummed a tune, clearly in a good mood. Seeing me sitting on the sofa drinking champagne, his expression froze for a moment. "Aren't you usually asleep at this time?" I glanced sideways at the sound, and despite the collar of his suit hiding it, I still saw the ambiguous red mark on his neck. Perhaps my gaze was a bit cold. Sylvan took a necklace out of his pocket, leaned in, and softly coaxed me, "Honey, the meeting ran late today. I brought you a gift. Do you like it?" Warm breath brushed my ear. I found it dirty and, without emotion, dodged his kiss. What meeting? In the same neighborhood, just an hour ago, he had come down from the bed of that innocent-looking female student. Sylvan seemed to have forgotten that we attended the same university. I was not some brainless fool. As I flipped through the thick stack of photos on the coffee table, Sylvan's words abruptly stopped. "Why so unhappy?" Photos of him making love with various women invaded Sylvan's eyes. He widened them, clearly recognizing himself as the male lead in the pictures. Stunned for about 10 seconds, Sylvan flew into a rage. "Nora, you actually hired a detective to follow me?" "I was just sleeping with them, that's all." Even though his heart was already shattered into 1,000 pieces, his disgusting defense still pierced me. Clutching my chest, I couldn't stop retching, but in the end, nothing came up. With red eyes, I hysterically spat out, "Sylvan, how can you be so disgusting?" Sylvan tried to take my hand, hoping to calm me down. But I was still too upset. "Divorce. I want a divorce." I handed him the divorce agreement I had prepared in advance. "Half the family assets each, and I want custody of Gino." The moment Sylvan's eyes landed on the divorce papers, he tore them into pieces in a frenzy. When he looked at me again, tears welled up in his eyes. "Wife, I was wrong, I'm a bastard. Please don't divorce me, I swear I won't do it again, just give me one more chance, okay?" Sylvan said as he slapped himself. I've lost count of how many times he's said things like this. No matter how hard he slapped himself this time, no matter how heavy his promises were, I knew he would do it again. From the pain and despair of his first affair to the numbness of his 10th, my feelings for him had been completely drained. Facing Sylvan, I forced a faint smile. Sylvan, I don't love you anymore. I don't want to be tangled up with a scumbag like you. Sign the divorce papers and let me go. Sylvan's eyes were filled with shame, but his voice carried anger. We've been together since we were 18. I've had enough of sleeping around. I don't want to wrong myself. Speechless with disappointment, I shook my head. If 18-year-old Sylvan knew how his 28-year-old self would treat me, he would probably hate himself to death. Sylvan seemed to realize he had spoken harshly and reached out to wrap his arm around my shoulder. Wife, I love you. I'm not going to divorce you. I only have about 10 years left to really have fun. When I'm done, I'll come back home and live a good life with you. In the end, he seemed certain that I loved him and wouldn't sleep with any other man besides him. Then he added, can we each have our own fun? Sylvan's call came at an inconvenient time. He probably already knew I was aware of his affair with a college girl, so he didn't avoid me. You fell downstairs? How can you be so careless? I'm on my way. His voice on the other end was soft and tender. Even I felt a pang of sympathy, let alone Sylvan, a man so passionate and strong-willed. After hanging up, he quickly came over and kissed my forehead. Wife, you're the one I love most. We're the ones meant to spend our lives together. Just as I was about to speak, Sylvan vanished like a gust of wind, swallowing the words he hadn't said. Since Sylvan was willing to live separate lives, then so be it. I changed into a sexy short skirt, applied delicate makeup, and arranged for the nanny. I called my best friend Kara and invited her to the bar. The moment we met, Kara asked me, has Sylvan signed the divorce papers yet? The private detective investigating Sylvan was still the one she had introduced to me. I honestly told her no, then gave a small laugh. However, Sylvan said that from now on, we could each do our own thing. Kara's mouth dropped open, and she stood frozen for a moment before saying, he really is generous. But, I think he's just certain that you've been with him since you were 18, certain that you love him, so he absolutely can't accept you betraying him by being with another man. I scoffed coldly. Too bad, Sylvan was wrong. I no longer love him. The one refusing to sign the divorce papers is him, not me. The moral shackles on women in this world are too deep. If men can play around, why can't women? As long as you pay, you can find someone clean. The smile in my eyes reflected in Kara's gaze. She understood what I meant and patted my shoulder. Today, your sister's got you covered, definitely going to find you a super handsome guy. What's so great about that, Sylvan? Didn't he use your own money to fund his startup? Now that he's got money, he's off chasing women. Ugh. Not a single good man in the bunch. Kara muttered a few curses at Sylvan. My heart no longer stirred even the slightest ripple. It's okay to shed tears for a man once, even twice. But to keep crying endlessly, that's just pathetic. I refuse to let myself be so consumed by a man that I'm ready to die for him. Since Sylvan won't do, then I'll just find someone else. Kara owns shares in this bar, and she's a regular here. After marrying Sylvan, I hadn't set foot in a place like this for many years. The blaring music nearly deafened me. After 3 minutes of adjustment, I found myself falling in love with the feeling. Kara opened her mouth wide and asked me, do you like it? I like it. My voice was loud. Who wouldn't like this feeling of freedom? Why is it that those damn men want to try every flavor, but we women can't have fun? Kara handed me a glass of wine. Tonight, your sisters have got you covered, guaranteed to make sure you have a blast. She leaned close to my ear, don't worry, I found you a virgin, clean. When a dozen guys were brought before me, all neatly bowing and calling me sister, the corners of my lips couldn't help but lift. Finally, I experienced the joy of being a man. My eyes immediately landed on the boy at the edge, with a buzz cut and a cigarette pinched between his fingers. I pointed, "You're the one." Back in high school, I always liked boys who dressed clean but had that mischievous, rebellious streak. Consider it a treat for my younger self. His gaze followed my finger, and a smile tugged at the corner of his lips. "Sis, hello, I'm Keanu." Damn, my heart felt like it was racing. He sat beside me and took my hand. Our palms pressed together, damp with sweat. After losing a few rounds of dice and downing 3 drinks, the alcohol loosened us up. Our bodies kept brushing against each other, and when he held my hand, I felt something hard beneath. I traced it slowly with my fingertips. 8-pack abs. By the time the drinks on the table were almost gone, I was nearly drunk too. The elevator was crowded, and Keanu leaned against the crowd, wrapping me in his arms. I couldn't help but think how tall he was. The next moment, Keanu's lips came crashing down on mine. A faint scent of rose. I was almost suffocating. The instant the elevator doors opened, a rose-flavored candy appeared in my mouth. We took a taxi back. He and I sat in the back seat, and during the 10-minute ride to the hotel, that candy passed from my mouth to his, finally melting away completely in a frenzy of kisses. The first time, he was a novice and seemed a bit unsure. By the second time, Keanu was already as skilled as a pro. "Sister, does it feel good?" "Your little brother is strong and vigorous." I was gasping so hard I couldn't say no. I nodded with tears in my eyes. My body sank into the soft bed, like a boat tossed by waves on the sea. After the third time, I was about to faint. Enough. Enough. As expected. Men after 25 are like 35. You can't compare Sylvan to Keanu, it's a total mismatch. Sylvan lasts less than 2 minutes each time. I really don't know how he satisfies that college girl. After resting for a while, I finished my shower and lay naked beside Keanu, our hands loosely intertwined as we chatted. "You're really good for a first time," I complimented him. His ears flushed red. We had training, and I also studied by watching videos. I sighed. "You men really learn fast when it comes to this kind of thing." I casually asked, "What do you do for work?" "I just graduated from high school and am about to start university." I forgot I was still naked and stood up abruptly, my eyes wide as saucers. "Ah. We've already done it. And now you tell me you're still in high school? Isn't that a crime?" Keanu hurried to explain, "Sister, I'm 19 years old, I can do this now. My grandmother is sick. She and I depend on each other. She's in a nursing home now, and I really need this money." Slowly, from his words, I learned about his background: a gambling father, a mother who remarried, an 80-year-old sick grandmother, and his broken family. Alright, no sympathy this time. When people reach this point, they tend to get sentimental. I told him about my husband cheating on me 10 times and keeping a female college student on the side. He comforted me, "Sis, don't be sad. From now on, I'll be your mistress." He really knows how to calculate. When I turned to look at his face, well, it wasn't exactly a no. Besides, I'm not short of money. As we talked, he held me until we both fell asleep. When I woke up again, it was already 8 in the morning. We did it 2 more times. We kept going until 11 at noon. When Kara called, Keanu had just gotten off me. Satisfied? Sisters really know how to be there for you. My voice was hoarse. I managed a strained Keanu's family background isn't great, but he's clean, good-looking, and can keep you company for a while to ease the loneliness. Kara hung up the phone. 19-year-old Keanu had become my kept mistress. Before leaving, I saved his contact information and transferred him another 100,000, marking it as a gift with no strings attached. Keanu's eyes were red, looking like a cute little puppy, stripped of last night's wild expression. Sister, it's too much. Kara already sent me 50,000 last night. I turned my head and tossed out, take it and spend it however you want. Then I shut the door and walked away. Even if Sylvan refuses to divorce, this marriage has long lost any reason to exist. I spent a fortune hiring the top lawyer. The house, the car, the shares, the money, the child, I want it all. Just after meeting with the lawyer and heading home, I ran into Sylvan at the door. He looked just as exhausted from a night out as I was. He was surprised. Why did the nanny pick up the kid from school today? Aching all over, I couldn't be bothered to explain and replied casually, got some things to handle. He kept babbling. You're just a housewife, what could you possibly have to do? Taking care of the kids should be your main job. I don't care if you do beauty treatments or go shopping, but... Sylvan didn't notice the impatience flashing in my eyes and pulled out the flowers and necklace he had prepared in the car. Wife, no matter how much fun I have outside, you're still the one I love the most. Here, put this on. Disgusting, I cursed silently in my heart. As Sylvan placed the necklace on me, his expression suddenly darkened. His voice grew sharper. What's with the hickeys on your neck? Damn it. I'd forgotten about that. Last night, my brother was a bit rough. I took out my phone and saw the clearly visible hickeys on my neck. Sylvan gripped my arm painfully. Are you seeing another man behind my back? His eyes were bloodshot. It was as if the next second, the moment I nodded in admission, he would fly into a rage. See? When something like this happens to him, he gets flustered. I laughed. Last night, I went out with Kara to play Truth or Dare, and she kissed me. Only then did Sylvan's grip loosen. Though there was doubt in his eyes, his anger clearly subsided. Your best friend really is something, taking you to a place like that. That night, just as Sylvan was about to touch me, the phone rang again. His face was anxious, he quickly got dressed and left. That's right, the female college student he kept on the side who resembled me was pregnant. 3 months along already. And Sylvan was even planning to let her keep the baby. For several days in a row, he didn't come home. Meanwhile, Keanu was with me every night. My brother was amazing, so handsome, I simply couldn't resist. Sleeping with him once felt no different than 100 times. Who doesn't love youthful flesh? I can only say that Sylvan came back at the worst possible time. Maybe Keanu and I were just too caught up in the moment. There wasn't a sound at all. When Sylvan burst into the room, Keanu was biting my ear, asking if I liked him. The sweet words on the bed were all lies. My eyes were hazy. I do. No sooner had the words left my mouth than Sylvan's furious voice rang out from behind. Nora! How can you sleep with another man? I struggled to sit up and saw Sylvan standing at the foot of the bed. Though he was shrouded in darkness and I couldn't make out his expression, his trembling body and clenched fists told me he was on the brink of rage. Since I've been found out, there's nothing left to hide. I just calmly started putting on my clothes while saying to him, couldn't you have called before coming back? The implication being, if he had called ahead, things wouldn't be so awkward right now. Just as I finished dressing, Keanu slipped on a pair of shorts and stood protectively in front of me. I was the one who seduced your sister, it's not her fault. If you want to hit someone, hit me. Responsible and smooth-talking, what woman wouldn't like that? Sylvan's anger was ignited by Keanu's words, and he looked like a furious lion. Unable to contain his rage any longer, he threw a heavy punch straight at Keanu's face. But he seemed to have forgotten that these past few years he'd been drained by wine and women. Meanwhile, Keanu was only 19, young and strong. He turned his head to dodge Sylvan's punch, then quickly grabbed Sylvan's arm and slammed him hard to the ground. Sylvan happened to fall against the bedside table, knocking out 2 of his front teeth. Blood was dripping, making the sight quite terrifying. His eyes were bloodshot as he hysterically demanded, Nora, why did you bring another man home? His words slipped out, making him look utterly ridiculous and laughable. I spread my hands. Wasn't it you who said we should each do our own thing? Does it make sense for you to be this angry now? I think things between us are fine as they are. Upon hearing this, Sylvan's eyes turned cold and lifeless. After a moment, he shouted angrily, I only said that in a moment of impulse, but how could you really cheat? Besides, I'm a man, you're a woman, you're so cheap, so shameless. I laughed angrily. All right, so when a man cheats 10 times, it's no big deal. In the end, he realizes his mistakes, returns home, and can still be a good husband and father. But when I cheat, it's not okay? You really are double standard. A complete, utter double standard dog. Having known Sylvan for 10 years, I had never cursed at him like this before. His bloodshot eyes stared straight at me, his chest heaving violently with anger. If it weren't for Keanu standing protectively in front of me, Sylvan's furious state would have almost made him strangle me right then. See, when the blame hits him, he feels the pain. After this standoff dragged on for a while, tears unexpectedly welled up in Sylvan's eyes. His gaze was utterly defeated, his voice trembling beyond recognition. I know, you must be doing this to get back at me for cheating so many times. But I'm a man, there's no man in this world who doesn't cheat. The one I truly love is you. I'm just having fun outside, in a few years, I'll come back to the family. We grew up together, been together since high school. Do you realize that what you're doing is tearing our family apart? Gino is only 5 years old. Only now does he think about the family, about our son. But when he cheated 10 times, when he got that college girl pregnant, did he ever think about me, about this family, about our son? I looked at Sylvan's face, and the last trace of youthful love completely vanished. Even now, he put on that expression, repeatedly saying he loved me. It just made me feel utterly sick. I couldn't stand it and interrupted him. I'm just playing around like you. When I get tired of it, I'll come back to the family. Are you really this angry? Didn't you agree that we could each have our own fun? Sylvan opened his mouth wide, unable to say a word for a long time. I walked slowly to the bedside table and took out the photos of Sylvan accompanying the female college student to the hospital for a checkup over the past few days. It's been 4 months, right? Are you planning to let her keep the baby? Sylvan never expected that I knew about Ivy's pregnancy. He was stunned for a long time, then hurriedly explained, Honey, she set me up. I never wanted this child. Don't worry, I absolutely won't let her have it. I fixed my gaze on him and sneered. Sylvan, do you think I'm stupid, so easy to fool? The villa in the Gulf was bought for her last month, wasn't it? Over 10 million. You really are generous. Do you know that every penny you spend on her is marital property, half of which belongs to me, and I have the right to claim it back? I walked to the living room and turned on all the lights. Then I held the new divorce agreement in front of Sylvan. Sign it. I don't want to drag this out any longer. Since Ivy is already pregnant, once we're divorced, you can marry her right away. This time, the divorce agreement was several pages longer than the last because the lawyer I hired uncovered that Sylvan had signed a proxy shareholding agreement with someone else. The proxy shareholding was signed at the company's founding. Back then, Sylvan and I had just gotten married. In other words, he was guarding against me from the very start. The love he spoke of to me was fake, and the love he told other women was fake too. People like him only truly love themselves. But Sylvan seemed to have forgotten that when he started the company, the initial startup capital was money from my parents, and he had someone else hold 30% of the company's shares on his behalf. The claim that he partnered with others to start the company was all a lie. He was the actual controller of the company. The lawyer, with years of experience handling marriage and divorce cases, informed me about this proxy holding agreement. At first, I didn't believe it. It wasn't until I discovered the large hidden funds in Sylvan's account that my hands and feet went ice cold. That chill spread deep into my heart. It was the first time I truly understood the meaning of the phrase, closest yet most distant spouses. This divorce agreement was several pages long, and the more Sylvan flipped through it, the tighter his frown became. 10 minutes later, he threw the divorce agreement onto the coffee table, his face stern. Nora. You really have the nerve, asking for 60% of the company's shares. You must be crazy. Keep dreaming. I built this company with my own hands, and I earned this money through hard work. Why on earth should I give you so much? Look, men may say they love you, but when it comes to dividing assets, they turn into cunning, hungry wolves. Not only do they guard against you, but they're always ready to bite. Calm and collected, I laid out the transfer records he had sent to his mistresses over the years, along with evidence of his asset transfers. Sylvan, I don't fight battles unprepared. The company wasn't built through your hard work alone. The initial capital for your startup came from me, and even the first project was something I pulled strings to get for you. 60% of the company's shares isn't too much, it's what I deserve. Besides, the company is about to go public. If you don't want me, go ahead and tell the Securities Commission and auditors about you having someone else hold the shares on your behalf. I advise you to obediently sign this divorce agreement. Otherwise, when we truly tear each other apart, the damage to your interests will only be greater. Sylvan's expression was cold and stern, his thin lips pressed into a straight line. His eyes were so red it looked as if they might bleed at any moment, and the veins on his forehead throbbed with each pulse of anger. After a long moment, Sylvan gritted his teeth and said, "Fine. Nora. I really underestimated you. Today, I finally see the real you, such a ruthless, scheming woman. How on earth did I ever fall in love with someone like you back then? This is how a married couple turns into enemies." Watching Sylvan's face contort with hatred as he slanders me, his eyes shift from anger to something deeply complicated. Keanu took a cup of warm water and handed it to me, breaking the eye contact between Sylvan and me. "Sister, you must be thirsty after talking for so long. Have some water." I no longer felt disappointment or indifference towards Sylvan, I was just tired. Neither the 18-year-old Sylvan nor the 18-year-old Nora could have imagined that things would come to this. I took the water Keanu handed me, an old habit compelling me. I said thank you. Perhaps sensing that continuing to argue would lead nowhere, or maybe Sylvan felt he couldn't stay in this room for even a second longer. He threw out a parting remark and prepared to leave. "I'm not going to divorce you." Sylvan's back in my sight didn't stand as tall as it used to, instead, it seemed to collapse, drained of spirit. He probably didn't even realize how pale and powerless his voice was when he said those final words. After the loud slam of the door, I too felt unusually exhausted and bent over, then sat down on the sofa. I felt a bit thirsty, but the water Keanu had handed me, I didn't take a sip and instead placed it on the expensive coffee table in front of me. Suddenly, I realized that this coffee table was something Sylvan and I had picked out together. I looked around the entire house. Not a single item here, inside or out, wasn't chosen by the two of us. But this home, which once sheltered us from wind and rain and echoed with laughter, was about to disappear. A desolation grew deep within me. The days and nights when I first learned of Sylvan's infidelity suddenly surrounded my heart. I remember lying awake night after night. My pillow was so wet it could be wrung out. But as one cries and cries, feelings fade, and love fades too. The 18-year-old Sylvan loved Nora. But at 28, he had broken Nora's heart, and Nora no longer loved him. Sensing my low spirits, my younger brother came over, blinking his eyes like a little puppy. "Sister, are you okay? You're not allowed to be unhappy." He was adorable, but today I was too tired. I had no energy left to tease him. In this relationship, Sylvan was not the only loser. I was too. I said, "I'm tired. You go back first. Don't worry, I'll transfer the money to you tomorrow." Keanu hesitated several times, wanting to say something. I understood he wanted to keep me company. But I refused. "Go back. I'll reach out to you after I've had some time to recover. Then, take good care of yourself," he said, turning back once as he left the gate, reluctant to go. That night, I barely slept. I only drifted off around 5 in the morning. Kara's call woke me up. "Sylvan called me this morning. He said I should try to persuade you not to divorce him." "Do you think he's out of his mind, asking me to convince you?" What was he thinking? I scolded him harshly. That damn man, cheating was bad enough, but hiding assets during the marriage? Absolutely disgusting. Kara kept nagging. Do you know what Sylvan said? Just waking up, my voice was a bit hoarse. I asked, what did he say? Sylvan said that as long as you can return to the family, he will cut ties completely with the other woman and live properly with you. After saying this, Kara asked me, did Sylvan really catch you and that guy brother in bed last night? I got out of bed. Yeah, I thought Sylvan wasn't coming back. He hadn't been home for days, spending time with that female college student. Kara praised me. No wonder you're my sister, you really have guts. I can just imagine how ugly Sylvan's face must have looked when he caught his own wife bringing a man home. It was indeed quite ugly. Someone as gentle as him actually wanted to hit someone. Luckily, he wasn't strong enough and ended up losing 2 teeth to Keanu. Gino is on summer vacation and recently went to visit my parents. The house is empty except for me and the nanny. Halfway through the call, the nanny came in to ask what I wanted for lunch. I really had no appetite. I waved her off, saying to just make something for herself and not bother with me. Kara, on the other end of the phone, overheard and immediately said, "Come on, I know you're feeling down. There's a new place that just opened on Binhai Road, and they have your favorite dishes. It's on me today." Since I had some things to talk over with her, I agreed. The moment we met, Kara gave me a big hug. She knew how many sleepless nights and tears I had spent over Sylvan's affairs all these years. She felt sorry for me. Don't be sad, he's just a scumbag. If you're divorced, then so be it. In the future, if my girlfriends are rich, beautiful, have great figures and sons, but no husbands, wouldn't that be amazing? She ordered a table full of dishes I liked. Just as the first dish was served, I received a call from an unknown number. It turned out to be the female college student Sylvan was keeping on the side. She was crying uncontrollably and wanted to see me. To be honest, despite Sylvan cheating so many times, I had never formally met any of his mistresses. I didn't want to make things difficult for these women. Sylvan didn't love me, and he didn't love them either. The real culprit was Sylvan, not these women. Ivy, heavily pregnant and fragile, stood before me, crying bitterly. I couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy. She said Sylvan told her he was unmarried, which was why she got involved with him. She never intended to be a homewrecker or break up my family. The food was good, and I was a bit hungry, so I ate a few more bites of meat before slowly speaking. I'm about to divorce Sylvan. Once we're divorced, you can marry Sylvan, and you won't have to worry about the child in your belly not having a father. Ivy wasn't happy at all. Instead, she cried even harder. She knelt down directly. He said he wouldn't divorce you. He said he'd give me some money to make me abort the child in my belly. She touched her stomach. The baby is already 5 months along, and I can feel it moving. I can't bear it, I really can't. Her crying made me feel unsettled. I immediately called Sylvan and then notified my lawyer to come over. Today, he absolutely has to sign this divorce agreement. When Sylvan arrived, he was still wearing yesterday's suit. The tailored suit was unpressed, wrinkled all over, losing its usual neatness and refinement. The moment he saw Ivy inside the private room, he glared angrily and shouted, "What are you doing with my wife? Didn't I promise to give you some money? My wife and I are not getting a divorce." Ivy trembled in fear. After saying that, Sylvan immediately came over to my side. Then he started slapping himself. "Wife, I was delirious. The one I truly love is you. She just looks a bit like you when you were younger, that's why I was drawn to her." One of them was crying, the other slapping himself. How am I supposed to eat with this going on? I slammed the teacup in my hand onto the floor, shards of glass scattering everywhere. My voice rose a few decibels. "Sylvan, if you don't sign the divorce papers today, tomorrow the company goes public. Just wait, I'll expose you. I advise you, if you don't want to die a miserable death, do as I say." Sylvan's knees buckled, his eyes reddening fiercely. My lawyer handed him the agreement. Sylvan struggled for a long time, finally trembling as he wrote his name. There was no way to eat that meal, so I grabbed Kara's hand and left. Before leaving, I reminded Sylvan, remember to get the divorce certificate tomorrow. It had been raining on and off for a whole month this season. But the day I got the divorce certificate was a rare, bright sunny day. Just after finishing the paperwork, Keanu was waiting obediently by the door in my car. When he saw me come out, he waved. Sister. After getting into the car, Sylvan stood there as if all the strength had been drained from his body. He knew he had lost his first true love. Gino accepted the reality of Sylvan and me separating very quickly. He even comforted me, saying, Mom, you've cried too many times over Dad. The one who truly loves you would never want to see you cry. Although Sylvan and I divorced, he still came to see our son from time to time. A few months later, Ivy gave birth to a daughter. The same tragedy repeated itself. Sylvan cheated again in the first year of their marriage. Some habits die hard. But all these troubles no longer concern me. What I didn't expect was that Keanu stayed by my side all along. At this age, amidst the insincerity, there was a hint of genuine feeling. For me, spending little money to enjoy his youth was well worth it. Having money and time, a son, and a handsome, young man in bed, living like this isn't so bad.